What foods can you eat on a carnivore diet? Hi, I'm Jen. If you're new here, I am delighted to meet you. And if you're not new, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the basics of what food you can eat on the carnivore diet. It seems really simple because basically you can eat any animal product. But for some reason, that's still really difficult for a lot of people to understand. So we're going to go into some detail today. Let's start with the most obvious thing that you can eat on a carnivore diet, and that is meat. That includes any kind of meat, but I'll break it down for you a little bit just in case. So let's start with beef. The things that I most commonly buy from the beef section of the grocery store are ground beef, ribeyes, T-bones, brisket, and chuck roast. But I mean, there are dozens of other things that you could purchase, and you can get them from a grocery store, a farmer's market, from a local farmer. It doesn't matter where you source it from, nor does it really matter if it's grass-fed, grass-finished, or conventionally raised, any of that. Just buy what you like and what you can afford. Another really good option is lamb. I personally buy a lot of lamb breast, lamb shanks, and lamb chops. There are so many other things out there though, like lamb ribs and lamb bacon, for example. Another super simple option is chicken. I often will buy a whole chicken and roast that in the oven, or I frequently make chicken thighs or chicken drumsticks in my air fryer. Chicken breasts are fine too. They're just very lean, so you may find that you need some added fat for those. And even just the skin of the chicken, oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite things to eat. Not everybody includes pork, but you certainly can. That's part of a carnivore diet. So I often eat bacon. That's the most frequent pork I eat, but also pork chops and pulled pork are frequents in my home. Sausage and ham are okay too. It's just difficult to find them not cured with sugar, so be on the lookout for that. Any kind of seafood is also a great option. So salmon or cod, tilapia, shrimp, lobster, crab, anything you can think of really, octopus, any of those things are completely allowed on a carnivore diet. So I listed off all these different animals that you can eat, but you can eat any part of the animal as well. So that includes organs, skin, things like chicken feet. You can eat the fat from the animal. You can make bone broth and eat the gristly collagen parts. Sometimes I even use collagen protein powder. So that wraps up the bulk of what I eat on a carnivore diet. All of those things that come directly from the meat of the animal. The next most common thing that I eat is eggs. I think eggs are one of the best options on a carnivore diet because the nutrient profile is quite a bit different than the meat. So if you're able to do meat and eggs, you will have even more nutrients and vitamins than you would otherwise. And of course, eggs can be prepared in so many different ways, so that really helps with palate fatigue. I love scrambled eggs, fried eggs, hard-boiled eggs, soft-boiled eggs, poached eggs. Gosh, I like all the eggs. And you can make a lot of different casseroles using eggs and meat, so that's a really great option whether it's breakfast or not. The most controversial type of food that some carnivores eat and some don't is probably dairy. I personally did include dairy in my diet for the first 9 or so months of being a carnivore, but I do find that it affects my autoimmune condition, so I no longer include dairy in my diet. But for those that can include dairy, there are so many wonderfully delicious options like heavy cream, sour cream, cream cheese, butter, cheese of course. Any of those options are totally fine, but do be aware of how you're feeling around it. If you feel bloated and puffy when you've had a bunch of dairy, or it's affecting your immune system or creating allergic reactions or making you feel addicted, I mean, those are all reasons to potentially eliminate dairy if needed. There are some foods that carnivores include in their diet that technically aren't carnivore. Some of those include coffee, tea, electrolyte drink mixes, and other things like that that are sweetened with artificial sweeteners, spices, condiments. I personally don't include hardly any of that in my diet, but many do, and they do just fine with it. So if you really need to have coffee in your diet, for example, and if you can't, then you cannot be successful on a carnivore diet, then I would suggest having the coffee. As far as actually approved drinks that you could have on a carnivore diet, that basically would be water, sparkling water. Sometimes people include kefir or kefir, however you say it, and technically even milk. Of course, regular milk is going to be fairly high in carbs. So I hope that gives you a pretty all-inclusive list of what you could be on the lookout for at the grocery store, especially if you're just starting this diet. I've actually created a list for you of over 150 different items that can be eaten on a carnivore diet. I will include a link to that list in the caption, so click on it and you can sign up and download it right away. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. And honestly, look me up on Instagram. I'm active there every single day, and that's where we can really get to know each other.